Alright guys, welcome back. This is going to be the second challenge. We're going to go ahead and take on the Path of Ascension, which is going to test your knowledge of Protoss units and what they counter. Going to go ahead and get this started here. If you haven't already seen the first video in this series, it addresses the basics of what the challenges are, and it also covers the first in the series of the Terran. Shows you what units they counter and whatnot. So this, like I said, this one is going to be for the Protoss. Going to go ahead and start this up.
Taro Tassadar, student. A Protoss warrior understands the strengths of their own forces and the weaknesses of the enemy. In this simulation, you will use a limited force to defend 3 pylons from attack. The pylons are some distance apart. You will need to divide your forces to protect all 3. Study the opposing force and deploy your units so they will most effectively counter the enemy. Once you have deployed your forces, press the ready button to begin.
Alright, so now we've seen the tutorial. We do start off with some Colossi. We have a sentry here, have some zealots, and we have some stalkers. Now the objective here is going to be to lose 10 units or less for the gold rating. And we will be fighting some Hellions up here. In the middle row we have a whole bunch of Marines. That'll be fun. And we have some Martyrs here. So, first things first, gonna go ahead and send the Colossi up here. For Protoss veterans, that should be pretty obvious, as I'm sure you recognize the bloodbath that is about to ensue with this lane. Gonna go ahead and send the Zealots up to the Martyrs right here. Actually, down to the Martyrs. And then we've got the Stalkers here. Gonna go ahead and send these up to the top lane right here to fight the Hellions. So, for this one, you know, the Sentry, the Terran one, I noticed the Ghost really had a more important part, but the Sentry, not quite. Like you could pretty much do any of these without losing too many units. But I'm gonna go ahead and send the Sentry down here because I'm gonna make use of the hallucinate ability and take advantage of that. So not really a whole lot of positioning that needs to be done. I'm going to go ahead and stretch these out just a little bit. And same thing with the Stalkers here. I'm going to go ahead and move them up to the front, and I'm pretty much just going to blank away one that takes damage. Not too difficult, pretty basic micro stuff if you know anything about Protoss. So I'm going to go ahead and click this ready button. We'll see which one it starts us off with here. Looks like it's going to do the Stalkers first, so I'm going to go ahead and have these Hellions come in and start attacking. Looks like this is going to be the first one. I'm going to blink back here. I'm going to go ahead and put it to the back, but make sure it's still close enough to where it can do some damage. And same thing I'm going to do here. And if you hold down the Alt key, you can see which units are taking damage here. I'm going to go ahead and keep this one at the back, and keep an eye on other units here. Move this one in the back as well. Let these units that haven't taken some damage take a few hits here. Alright, so we do have the first round complete. We'll be moving on to the Colossi. This is probably going to be my favorite wave of the entire series. So many Marines, so few Colossi, and so much fun, and so much blood. Look at that. Wall of Death. Gonna go ahead and... oh, maybe I won't move that one back. Okay, move that one back there. This one back. Just kidding. Not moving that back, apparently. There we go. Good times are had. So, probably could have microed that better, but that's okay. I've been up playing Starcraft for a long time, and I think it's excusable. So I'm going to go ahead and make an Archon. Going to go ahead and make another Archon. Here are damage soakers. You can see they're taking all the hits, so that way these guys can get in and do their thing. And the party is going to ensue. These Zealots are just going to have their way with these Martyrs. You'll see it really wasn't a contest. Did end up losing 2. You know, that's okay, because there were a lot of them there. And we're going to go ahead and move on to round 2 here. We did lose 2 units. The objective here is to lose 10 or less, so we are definitely on par. This time, round 2, we do have some Immortals, 1 High Templar, some Void Rays, and some Carriers with the Interceptors already built. Our opponents are going to be some Thors, some Siege Tanks, and some Battle Cruisers. So I know for a fact that I'm going to go ahead and send the High Templar down here, and make good use of the feedback ability, since you can see the battlecruisers do have the full energy right there. So next for the siege tanks, we are going to go ahead and let's see. Actually, no, we'll finish up for the battlecruisers here. I'm going to send the void rays down here for the battlecruisers. That should be super easy. Next up for the siege tanks, we do have the immortals. Gonna send them up here, and while they're going, gonna take the carriers, send them up here. So, waiting for these guys to come on up here. Like I said, this isn't actually too difficult of a challenge here. Just pretty much some basic micro involved, and understanding this. These will definitely help you understand the counters for the units. So if you have not played too much Protoss or Terran Zerg before, I would definitely suggest these as a means to learn. Don't feel bad if you don't get these in the first try. You know, I mean, this is probably one of the best ways to learn unit counters, is to just straight up have these units here fighting it out. And what better way to see what the counters are than to just have a whole bunch of units going at it. So now we've got everything set up here, and for the Templar, you also can send it up here to fight the Thor as well. But I tend to just let these carriers do their thing because the interceptors just kind of swarm the Thors. Really, it's personal preference what you do with the High Templar here. But I'm going to go ahead and start it out. Click ready. Gonna do the Thors first. The important thing is to make sure you don't let the Thors attack your carriers. You want to have the Thors attacking the interceptors. So if you see them starting to do a bunch of damage, you want to bring them out and let them start targeting the interceptors. And once you do that, the interceptors will pretty much just kind of do their thing. As you can see right here, and this one is going down pretty quick. So are these. Got to keep bringing these back a little bit here. The interceptors will stay out there and keep fighting. And just going to continue the macro. Going to keep him in a hold position in the back here. You two, I don't want you to die. You can stay up there for a second. You still got some shields. Yeah, like I said, this is pretty much just a little bit of micro. That's all there really is to it. So I think we're going to be able to get away with not actually losing anything here. Good times. The last Thor is going to go ahead and go down. We're still at total losses. 2 here. Was a little bit slow on the micro on that one, but I was able to get it done pretty effectively. One thing you can do is turn on your health bars in the options menu. I would highly recommend that for a lot of players. Personally, it just annoys me. It gets in my way and it's too much clutter. But that's what the Alt key is for. So we're going to go ahead and engage these tanks here. Gonna move in. Try to minimize the amount of siege damage. I was a little bit slow with that, as you can see, as my units are just getting trashed now. That was a terrible move on my part. I'm going to go ahead and focus down these tanks that are in siege mode. Do have most of our immortals up left. That could have been entirely prevented, but it was just my fault. We're still at total losses 4 though, so doing okay. So gonna go ahead and engage these battle cruisers here. Gonna get the feedback going on all 3 of them. Gonna move back here a little bit. Make sure no one unit takes a whole boatload of damage. And just gonna move these back. Now these void rays are fully charged up. They are just gonna rip through these units, as you just saw. So made quick work of those. We are gonna go into round 3 with total losses of 4. And you'll see we do have a pretty diverse mixture of units here. Got some Phoenixes, some Immortals, we got a Templar and a Sentry, so we will have 2 Spellcasters that we can work with. Got some Archons, some Zealots, some Stalkers, and some Colossi. Our opponents will be a Battlecruiser with 5 Vikings, a whole bunch of Hellions and Reapers, and then we have Siege Tanks and Martyrs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and send these Immortals down here to the Siege Tanks and Martyrs, as they will be very effective versus the Siege. For these light units up here, I think it's going to be a pretty obvious choice. Going to have the Colossi. Now for these units right here, some of you are probably thinking that Phoenixes will be a good idea. However, I will tell you right now, it is not. What I like to use the Phoenixes for in this level is to use lift up some of the Siege Tanks. Using their Graviton Beam. So that means we're left with 2 spellcasters, some stalkers, and some zealots. Gonna go ahead and send the zealots down to here. So this will make pretty quick work of these guys. And gonna go ahead and send the stalkers up here to combat the battlecruiser and the 5 Vikings. I'm also going to go ahead and include the sentry as well to create a couple hallucinations there. Shouldn't be too difficult. Gonna go ahead and send the Archons up here to take some of this damage as well. Which leaves us with the Templar. Looking at the unit composition here, I am going to go ahead and probably say that we're going to send the Templar up to this location. Well, I don't know. Let's stop and think for it here. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and send the sentry down here to the bottom right. We use that for some hallucination. And I'm going to send the Templar up here to the top left. This will kind of combat the battlecruiser with feedback as well as provide some Psystorm to get some easy kills from these Vikings here. So now that we do have everything in just about position, I'm going to go ahead and move back just a little bit more. That's looking good. And that's looking good. I am going to go ahead and probably hold these zealots back for now. The problem is with this unit comp, these zealots will die super quick if they rush in. So I am just going to go ahead and keep this back and let the Archon hallucinations and the Immortals take most of the damage, which should be fine as long as I get these Graviton beams out as soon as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and position these up here to go ahead and get a head start on that. And everything else looks okay. Gonna go ahead and actually let me spread these out just a little bit more, as I want to make sure they are able to all get in the fight as soon as possible. Move over, fatty. There we go. And we are pretty much good to go here. So I'm going to go ahead and start it up. We are going into this with 4 losses total, so pretty good chances we are going to be able to reach the gold achievement for this. Alright, here comes these units here. I'm going to go ahead and feedback on the battlecruiser and then put 1 Psystorm down. Kind of blink. Oh, we did lose 1. That's okay though. Yeah, pretty much everything is... Nope, lost 2. Wow, you can definitely tell that I am tired and playing like crap. So, lost 2 units due to my failure at microing. That's okay though, because this is not a league game and I am not going to play one when I am this tired. So we are going to go ahead and have the second round here. Going to have the Archons taking the hits for the Colossi. This one here and this one do have a little bit of damage. I want to go ahead and move them back for just a second. Did lose 1 Archon. That's okay though, because wow, why aren't you firing, guys? Come on, really pay attention. Okay, now that's going to be the second one there. Once again, due to my retardedness, I did lose 1 more unit, but we still have we still can lose 2 more. So I'm going to go ahead and make 2 Archons. I'm going to save. I'm going to go ahead and sing this. I'm going to go ahead and lift up the sieges, the ones that have already sieged. So this will provide some definite coverage there. No, don't die. We can only have 1 more unit die. Which, I don't know if we're going to make this or not. We might. So I'm going to go ahead and lift these up here because we are at 10 units now and I really don't want to lose this because I'm playing sloppy. But this should be good enough to finish up here with the 10 units, which will let us meet this achievement. Obviously, this can be done better. Like I said, I was able to get this done in my current state of sloppiness. Still was able to get it, so that should tell you pretty much just how easy it is once you get the hang of it. So I'm going to go ahead and click continue. You can see I've got all these done. Not my best, but that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and close this, and we'll move on to the next one.